So people have suggested that I should go check out other podcasters and try and get on their channel. And so I was told about this podcast, and so I just typed in on YouTube. And funny enough, this is the podcast that came up. I should not have listened to this podcast the first thing in the morning. This was my reply to this podcast, to this video. And I came away from this so irritated that I have to do a video about it. The problem that I have with this podcast is that it has kernels of truth into it, but it's loaded with so much bullshit that you would end up throwing the baby out with the bathwater because you'd walk away, thinking, so let me deal with what she said about Lucian. I don't know what survivor she's talking about that claimed that they were going to do lawsuits and come after him. I've been in the survivor community for well over a decade. And let me tell you, survivors run. They're not confrontational. No survivor was threatening to sue Doug. What I came away from what she said in this video is, poor Doug, those big, bad, mean survivors going after him. I just felt I had to tell him. And then he dealt with them, and it all went away. I bet he did deal with them, because Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, is real good with dealing with survivors and survivor advocates, helps them to unalive themselves like he did Lori King, helps them to go off a bridge like he did Isaac Cappy. It is hard for me to reach out and to go on other podcasts because they have an army of assholes seeking out information. She's right about that. Good example, go listen on my YouTube station to the John B. Wells show that I did all about Jacob Wetterling. And less than a week and a half later, after I did that interview, a 28-year-old cold case that couldn't be solved was solved with a perp and a confession and a body. But the body is questionable. The dude was already in jail, is gonna remain in jail, and never got charged for any of it, But it's all a coincidence, because nowadays physics, one thing doesn't lead to another, doesn't lead to another, doesn't lead to another. Everything lives in a vacuum, like that gas station explosion. The fact that gas station was there for 40 years and never had an issue. The fact that my sister hadn't even finished moving in, but had just bought the house across the street. I was kitty corner on the block, straight across the street from that gas station. I was getting death threats, which I sent to my Shelby County Sheriff, Neil Gross, who told me they couldn't figure out where the death threats were coming from. That's what he told me. So they didn't deal with any of it. I'm getting death threats. And then the Saturday night before the gas station explosion, there were men right outside my sister's house. She lived right across the street from the gas station. They were there at 3 o'clock in the morning, but everything was under COVID lockdown, so nothing had been open all day. Then that gas station blows up at 9 o'clock, a week and a half on Monday. A week and a half before that, Deputy Donovan, which was the deputy they had going after me, unalived himself a week and a half before that. And then now the report says that there was only one explosion, but there's really two. But of course, Neil Gross, Shelby County Iowa Sheriff, says, that was the fire marshal. That wasn't me. I know nothing about explosions. So I don't know. But I think that the one explosion caused the second explosion, and so they just said it was just one explosion. The story Doesn't make fucking sense. But it all lives in a vacuum. Nothing is connected to anything else. And so they feed you full of bullshit. Oh, Barack Obama is part of the female shit. I didn't even get all of that because it was just so mind-blowingly stupid. But it's just like people thinking that Tom Hanks and Oprah, and God only knows who else were the ones who helped Isaac Cappy off the bridge. Except the dude Phoenix Enigma, who was there the morning he went off the bridge, who married the woman who was the last one to talk to him. And they're best friends with this captain dude, who has all of Isaac's shit. So why can't anybody find the 3 interviews that Isaac did with Fiona and I? They can find everything else, but they can't find those 3 interviews. But it would be on his computer. But it's just a coincidence. Nothing leads to anything else. Everything lives in a vacuum. It just happens simultaneously, spontaneously, And people wonder why I get frustrated with this. Because this is the way it's been over and over and over. And people get unalived over and over and over. And people allowing themselves to feed into their bullshit, then tell themselves, well, there's nothing I can do. Why get involved? There's nothing I can do. I won't get involved. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Just like I said in that thing, Lucian Greaves, which isn't even his name, founder of the Satanic Temple, he's involved with the satanic Nazi pedophile ring that just got busted in September. That's why he's so afraid of me right now, because that's all come out, and it's gonna lead to him. There's all kinds of shit, him and his group. And I'm not all big on to going to other people's podcasts and giving them information, because what she was saying about the fact that they're really nice and they act like they're your best friends, and they suck all this information out of you, and then they turn around and fuck you and try and discredit you any way they can. I've gone through that. It started with Franklin Files over a decade ago when I was going after that, and Noreen Gosh came after me. Noreen Gosh, who has information that's going to break apart Johnny Gosh's abduction. But 40 fucking years, and we're still waiting for that information. Because that's how this shit works. And so, that's this video. I'm trying to do a podcast. I have gotten a few donations. I totally appreciate it. It hasn't been a lot, but it was enough to help me get another printer so that I can start writing my book. The podcast is just way more involved and expensive. And so I'm going to have to, that'll be a bit. But they have everything clamped down on me. But the one thing that they can't clamp down on is heaven. And heaven is here. Heaven's going to deal with them. Heaven's going to deal with all of us. And it doesn't make any difference what anybody believes. They're going to feed you full of fucking bullshit. Because the shit is falling down. And they want you to think that they're way more powerful than they are. And they're not. They're not powerful. They live in the shadows and they talk shit. That's their superpower. And it's not going to go well for them in the end. So that's this video. Again, if you want to contribute to help me get a podcast going so that I can basically tell the truth with shit. PayPal, Venmo, capital D, capital S, HURTER, my name. And so that's this video. But I shouldn't have watched that podcast this morning because it irritated the crap out of me. Bye.